All right. I guess everything's blowing up and there's things that we got to address. It seems like at least once a year we got to go through this. I guess that's why when they ask how come we talk about women in relationships so much in the red pill space is because this stuff keeps circulating and it never dies. So right now we're going to talk about Anton and talking about marriage. And I don't know why people listen to folks that are tangentially connected to the red pill space. And I do mean tangentially connected to the red pill space. And I really don't know how this stuff got started. I don't know what beef he had with whoever's coming in, talking about marriage and stuff like that. And personally, I wish the red pill guys would leave purple pill guys or blue pill guys alone. The Lapeef network is a blue pill space. It's not a red pill. Blue pill space. It makes folks. Okay? And I wish y'all would start leaving these people alone. Let them have their space. There's the red pill space is very small. And the vast majority of people, or black people, period, don't deal in this space. So when you go over there and bother them, and then they respond to you, and then we have this whole string of responses after that, like Edward, like Mr. Fantastic, like Roger, that riff off of this unnecessarily when we've talked about it before. So I went over there and listened to what he had to say, to partially what he had to say. I don't really particularly feel like listening to 3 or 4 hours of whatever. Some things, what they talk about is interesting, right? But for the most part, for me, for the most part, it's not really fulfilling, not really interesting. And since I don't really know these people, stuff that you've heard over the past, I would say 20 years really, about marriage and stuff like that, this is pretty much old hat. There's nothing new that I found over there. There's nothing that he said that I heard was particularly interesting. It's the same old stuff. And what he said about the red pill space, he only knows about the red pill space of what he hears, what people bring to him. He's shooting off at the hip because he's not really part of it. So I don't even know why people get triggered by what he's saying, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. People in the red pill getting married, wanting to get married, wanting to find their tribe, wanting to hook up. They have so many different ways and so many different modalities of doing it. It's ridiculous. In the red pill space, it's not all MGTOW. Normally it's the MGTOWs that don't want to get married and couple like that. A lot of guys in the red pill space have already been married and have children and have money. A lot of the mistaken idea that most of the guys in the red pill space are broke. They're not. At least my subs, the vast majority of my subs make 80 grand and above. Most of my subs are in the top 10%. I was just talking to a few of them last night. They're teachers, they're engineers, they're programmers, they're businessmen. Some are global elite, as I say, they're global elite. Some of them had particular skills that we can't talk about on air. And he's saying that, and what he's saying is simplification. I probably have to play a clip. A lot of what he was saying is dealing with a certain segment of people, mostly people that are either came from the lower class, like the working class or the street class, and either grinded their way out of it, or working class guys that are still there, that want to elevate themselves. And I have no problem with that. So when he says he's not talking about hood rats or women for the streets, and that if you don't get one of those class of people that your success for marriage will go up, is not true. A lot of guys that I talk to that have issues with marriage are people that have bachelor's or higher. A lot of them have master's or higher. A few of them have PhDs and postdocs. And they have the same issues with marriage and relationships that everybody else has. So it's not across the board. In fact, the people, what I call 92 octanes, the professional class, have more issues with marriage and mating and dating than the people that are working class. So trying to make marriage a class issue is patently false. That means you don't understand the space and you don't understand the red pill and you're shooting off at the hip, which is fine. A lot of guys, I don't have any angst against Anton one way or the other. I don't particularly like people that are pretentious one way or the other. I don't care how much money you have. Dennis Sperling probably makes more money a year than Anton. And the Dennis Sperling's friends probably make more money than Anton. They're in the red pill space. Dennis is not pretentious. Dennis is an LA dude. He's not pretentious. Dennis he'll show you his big house. He'll show you his villa in the Dominican Republic. But Dennis is a very grounded, down-to-earth guy. He's realistic. He's been married twice, and he's realistic about red pill and marriage, even though he said he will do it again. He's realistic about it. He's realistic about how you choose wives. A lot of guys in the SYSBM cohort, a lot of them are business folks. A lot of them make a lot of money. A lot of them are married. A lot of them are not married. Most of them are not married to ADOS females. That's another segment of the red pill nobody talks about. They're not anti-marriage. They're just anti-marriage in the United States, which is very smart, which is something that the red pill has been talking about for the last 15 years. Not just whether you should marry or not. There's some people that said it's too iffy and dangerous to marry. There's some people that are using so-called frame to marry to stay married. Rollo Tomasi is a white red pill guy. He's been married for like 25 years. There's other people in this space that are red pill that are still married. I know at least 20 of them, probably more than that are red pill and married. Rashid which is a red pill guy and a working class guy, and he's been married for I think Rashid says he's been married for like 10 years. Uru's been married for like 25 or 30. He's a red pill guy. He tells you to be careful with marriage. There are other people in this space that are married, that are mixed in. So, broad brushing the red pill space about marriage and saying they're telling white lies, that means, sir, you are uneducated in this space. You're not knowledgeable in this space. And giving your examples doesn't mean anything. You operate in a different space. You operate in a blue pill space. There's nothing wrong with that. And what the guys are talking about with the so-called white lie or a half-truth, it's not a half-truth. They print statistics every day about marriage statistics, about the decline of marriage. Marriage since 1965 really has been cut in half. The marriage rate was over 80 per thousand. Now it's down to below 40 per thousand. Marriage rate's been cut in half since the mid 60s. And as the boomers and the older folks die off, the marriage rate will decline. There's such a thing called gray divorces, where women are walking away. And marriage is a risk. Marriage is a risk. It's a calculated risk, which is what any red pill content creator will tell you. Marriage is a risk. Now if you're talking about the people in the comment section, the people in the comment section are all over the place. And that's what he's going by. And him being an outsider, now he got through Kevin Lapeef got introduced into this segment. And everybody doesn't need to be brought into this segment. Okay? Everybody doesn't need to be brought into red pill knowledge or red pill space, because they're not. And they call it dissension and arguments in whatever the news of the day. And then certain content creators get a whiff of it, and people send them stuff like they sent me, and then you have to comment on it. which I don't particularly feel like commenting on it. If Anton can build his base, he can build his base. Anton does not need the red pill space to build his base. There's plenty of women that want to get married or need to get married, especially going forward, that are willing to pay him and willing to listen to him. He doesn't need us. We don't need to comment on everybody that puts red pill in their title. We've been through that for the last 10 years. So, and if you're going to do a video responding to him, we don't need to do 4 or 5 videos responding to the same thing. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. If he knew what he was talking about, then I could see it. And when I listened to him for about 5 minutes, I said, "God, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about." He's talking about his experience, but the thing is, that has nothing to do with what happens over here. He's responding to the people that are coming to him. That's fine. But the people that have been over here for a while, that listen to him for 5 minutes, knows that he has absolutely no clue what he's talking about. Hell, you got Kev, Black Men Being Brutally Honest. He's married with children. So is Donnie, that's also in this space, in the red pill space, that are married. You have 3 of the habitual line steppers that are married. Why he doesn't know what he's talking about. The red pill space is not a monolith. He doesn't even know how the 3 segments of the red pill, which includes pickup artists. He's talking about a very tiny segment of very tiny people of dissenters that may be MGTOW related, that are anti-marriage, and that's fine. But MGTOWs don't make up the majority of the red pill space. You have some IDMORs that are offshoots of MGTOWs. But all IDMORs aren't even anti-marriage. So listening to the guy without educating the guy, listening to him rattle off stuff that he has no clue about what the hell he's talking about, is irresponsible with us. The mistake is us. The mistake's not him. Okay, he's a newbie. And if you start listening to a newbie mouth off, I don't care how authoritative he sounds when he says it, he has no clue what he's getting into. All he knows is what he believes. That's all he knows. All he knows is what he believes. Now, are there people that do the calculus and figure the risk and add up what they need, and then they say it's more than an adequate risk to take and marry a woman, especially a black woman in these Americas? There are people that actually need a wife. That's the argument that me and Kevin had, and the argument I had with red pill people. There's some people that have a need for a wife. If you have a need for a wife, that's up to you to do the calculus, for you to do the calculations and figure out whether you need a wife or not. That's not you. That's what you have to do, a different calculus. And you have to go through different solutions or different avenues to figure out if you need one and how you need to go about acquiring one. I've talked to lots of people, counseled lots of people that need a wife for different reasons. And we send them through a matrix about how to pick one and why to pick one, and then what segment of people to actually talk to, and how to evaluate a wife according to your needs, which is a little bit more scientific, a little bit more, I would say, practical, for lack of a better term. And then after you get them, how do you evaluate them, and how do you, number one, just talk to them. Number two, how you educate them, how you solve their problems, and how you do your thing, how you relate to them on a few different levels, more than just the street level. I have no problem with the Lapeefs, okay, the Lapeef network. We've seen it before. It's mildly entertaining. Some people like it more than other people. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm less about entertainment and more about education. So they're not my particular cup of tea. But I was asked to respond to this. I think it's a waste of time. We've heard it before. I'm sure we'll hear it again. I don't know why people that are so-called blue pill or even purple pill feel the need to impose their ideas on our space. I don't get it. Carve out your own space. There's other groups that are bigger than this, that have more men than this, that they're mixed with men and women. You got other groups, man. There's a bigger space than this one. I don't know why people come in and try to convince us or convince this particular space that we need to change and change the way we do things. because they don't like it. Don't like it, YouTube's a big space. Go someplace else. Eventually, if you don't like red pill people, say you don't like red pill people, they'll go away. They'll leave your channel alone. I've seen them do it, but you won't have the new hotness. Red pill spaces are cutting edge, and what Anton is doing and what Anton is saying, talk about a white lie. Anton is like 5-6 years behind where we are. He just doesn't know it. And would I like to have a discussion with him? Yeah, probably not. Am I cool with what he says? He has a right to say what he wants to on his channel. My thing is that people on this side, man, y'all heard this shit before, man. You've heard this stuff before. This goes all the way back to 2013. It's not new. These discussions have already been had. It's not new. The headlines, I was just reading a headline today about the decline of marriage. It's not new. If you don't want to walk into it, you walk into it with your eyes open and knowing what the risk was. That's what anybody in the red pill space will tell you. Now, some people adamantly against marriage, but those people you have radicals on all sides. And I don't think we should get triggered by everybody that decides to hang their hat and come into space. I just did this a couple years ago, and I had people come in with this rhetoric, and basically they had their hat handed to them. The stats are there, the statistics are there. The case law of marriage and relationships are there. Dennis Sperling's a lawyer. Okay, you have many lawyers come in and tell you what the deal is. So I don't know why we need to keep discussing people like Anton. He's got a right to his opinion. He firmly believes in what he's saying, and that's fine. He seems to be a babe in the woods. If you believe prenups and postnups are ironclad, I have a bridge in Florida, in the Florida swamp to sell you. They're not ironclad, and at any time they could change the policy, change the way the family court does things, and they can throw all that crap out. And you're 15 years in with babies and a mortgage and all your businesses all tied up. And your state could pass a law obliterating all of that. So just because somebody has hype and they're forceful about saying it, you need to do your own work, do your own calculus. Anyway, that's all I got. It's BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.